Well, employers are like, they're so scared when they're interviewing you. They're terrified that you're putting on like some sort of an act to trick them into hiring
Mm.
you. And one of the ways that we can kind of like quell that fear for them is like showing a genuine, enthusiastic interest in their company, in this role. Like the more it appears that you care, the more excited you are for the role, the more likely they are to trust that you're going to stay in the job long term and you're going to try your best while you're there. Welcome to Next Job Now,
The podcast where we help you get your next job
right now. Welcome to the podcast. I'm Greg Langstaff. I'm a certified resume strategist. I've written over 2,000 resumes, and I love helping people get new jobs.
And I'm Jeff, and I have a lot of questions about job searching. Together, we're going to talk about everything you need to know about landing your next role. Today, we are talking about how to act during your interview.
But first, if you don't mind, take a second to subscribe to this podcast, like if you're watching on YouTube, and if you've been having a good time with our content, leave us a review. We're trying to grow this podcast. We're having a very good time putting it together, so anything you can do to help would be graciously appreciated.
Greg, what is the best way to ruin a first impression?
That makes it sound like you're trying to ruin your first impression.
I'm out here about to tank this interview. Let's get it over with.
Okay, no, but the fastest, best way to tank your interview is in how you answer the first question, because the first question in every interview is always the same.
What is it?
How are you?
Stop.
No, but if you answer with like a I'm fine, that's a blown opportunity. And that's so hum-ho. Like, that's not going to impress anyone.
What am I supposed to say?
Okay, so
Go into my life story. Hey, how are you? Great. Traffic was terrible. I had a bad time. It's slightly cloudy. I'm depressed because it's January. What am I supposed to say?
No, you want to keep it positive, but like, if they ask, how are you? And you can't just say fine. You have to say, I'm great. I've been looking forward to this interview since the moment we scheduled it. I've been preparing a lot. I've learned so much about your company, and I'm thrilled to finally meet everyone and talk through this role and this opportunity.
I like that. It's a little bit of like a hyping yourself up to go into that interview and setting it off on the right tone. I get that.
Well, employers are like, they're so scared when they're interviewing you. They're terrified that you're putting on like some sort of an act to trick them into hiring you. And one of the ways that we can kind of like quell that fear for them is like showing a genuine, enthusiastic interest in their company, in this role. Like the more it appears that you care, the more excited you are for the role, the more likely they are to trust that you're going to stay in the job long term and you're going to try your best while you're there.
Okay, so you said it's about the first question that's asked. I've also heard about how you treat reception, how you enter the building.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I'm assuming they're not watching the cameras to see how I walk in with confidence. Like, when does it start?
No, you're so right, though. I've heard stories of people not getting a job because they cut the interviewer off in traffic on the way to the interview. So
Took
like
their parking spot.
I've been watched on an airplane before on the way to a conference where we were interviewing for roles.
Tell me more. What do you
Okay.
mean you were watched?
So I was going to a very small town in Wisconsin for like this big placement conference. Like 600 candidates were going. They had like 150 jobs to offer. So people are flying in both like as recruiters and as candidates to this tiny town, Appleton, Wisconsin. And on that airplane ride for that event was only people attending this conference. So like you are being watched from that moment.
Game on.
Yeah. Now, like in a more practical setting, companies do try to do like this little trick where the receptionist also is scoring your behavior when you come in, when you greet them. we've done that. Like where we used to work, we did that. We gave front desk a scoring card, and if someone was rude, which happened sometimes, they would get a negative score. And even if they blew our minds in the interview, we obviously would not hire them, because like it's important how you treat everyone.
Yeah, you're joining a team. You're
Mm.
not just here to do a job.
Yes.
A lot of people can do the job.
Yeah.
Do you fit well with this team? Are you a kind person? Are we going to enjoy working with you every day? And do you respect every member of the team?
Yeah.
Let's talk a little bit more about how to act right, how to be proper in the interview.
Right.
Teach me proper interview etiquette.
Okay, so the first thing is like we want to be present and engaged with the people. I have a lot of thoughts on eye contact during interviews.
Am I making too much now?
No, it's fine. And we're one-on-one, so that's okay. But most interviews are panel interviews. So my hypercritical opinion about eye contact during job interviews is you won't know you're making this mistake, but you cannot just stare at one person the entire interview. If there's 3-4 people in the room, you have to share that eye contact with everyone. Even if one person's smiling and one person's not looking at you, you need to span it around, because the people who aren't getting any eye contact from you are going to feel dismissed. Mm-hmm. And the person who is getting all the eye contact from you is going to feel so uncomfortable. And I've been on both ends of that. You probably have too, where you're like, why is this person staring at me?
Why are they looking?
There's 4 people here interviewing. Like, why are you so obsessed with me? So that's like, just share your eye contact.
I feel like I'm naturally drawn to probably the hiring manager. Like once they introduce themselves, I'm probably going to 80% of my eye contacts with that person.
That's too much.
That's too much.
80%.
HR is just there jotting along.
They're going to feel so weird. And it's also going to be like, are you not going to incorporate your entire team in team meetings? Are you just going to stare at the boss the whole time?
No, I will not. Yeah, you're right. That's a very critical. This comes from a lived experience. I feel like you have stories.
Well, I've been in hundreds of interviews on both sides. So yeah, think about it all the time.
Can you think of that time of just feeling really weird?
It has always been when the person zeroed in on me.
That's the most uncomfortable. Yeah. The recipient.
Yeah.
What's too weird in an interview? Eye contact. Give me what else can be weird.
Okay, there's going to be this voice in your head that is saying like, you said that weird. That wasn't a great answer. You're not making any sense. That's normal. Don't acknowledge that voice. Do not like, if you're saying like, oh, great question for every question, that's fine. We all have that kind of nervous tick. Don't say, oh, great question. Oh, I'm saying great question too much. Like,
oh yeah, don't do that.
No commentary on your own, like on your own performance. I actually did that on a first date once.
And how did that go?
Not well. Not well. It was like I kept saying, I think it was like, so what else? What else could we talk about? And like that is a little weird. Sure.
Yeah.
If you say that a bunch of times. But then I said, well, what else could we talk about? Why do I keep saying that?
Yeah. Talk about the fastest way to tank a date or tank an interview.
They're very similar experiences.
They're very similar experiences. Yeah. So would that connect, like, let's talk about dating and first interview then, or interview etiquette. Oversharing personal issues on the first date. Mm-hmm. We're not doing that in an interview.
No.
Like, don't do that.
No complaining about anything during an interview, including like obviously your current work situation, your most recent work situation. I know we're going to talk about that in an upcoming episode of like how to answer tough questions such as why did you leave your current job? But for those interested right now, don't say anything bad about your old employer. Keep it pretty surface level if they do ask that question.
The weirdest thing for me when I walk into a room, I don't know who to shake hands with anymore.
Okay. Handshakes are back in job interviews.
Are they?
Yes, and in meeting people. I met four people yesterday. Everyone was down for handshakes right away. It was awesome.
I don't do it.
Really?
I don't shake hands anymore. And it's not necessarily, it's just the awkwardness of like going down a row.
You got to do it.
I feel like there's an acknowledgement that's important, but so many people have personal boundaries.
Mm-hmm.
I won't turn it down,
Mm-hmm.
but I will never lead it anymore.
But no one's turning down a handshake unless they have a very good reason.
Right.
Like, oh, I'm sick. Oh, like cultural reasons.
Mhm.
But most of the time, those people are very well practiced at explaining why they're not going to shake your hand, and they know that they are kind of the outlier, so the onus is on them. I think like offering a handshake is never going to score you negatively, but not offering a handshake could potentially be an obstacle unless you have like a well-practiced reason for not, such as, oh, I'm a little under the weather. Although I wouldn't probably admit that in a job interview.
Yeah.
Yeah.
There's some things you don't need to say.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah. Pretend you feel well.
Pretend. Yeah. You can make it through.
Yeah.
Yeah. I once said in an interview, if you give me the job, I might pee in that corner. A little weird.
What?
This is a real sentence that I said. There's some context that does matter.
I need to hear this.
So it was like a pretty comfortable vibe. We were really getting along. And I'm sure there's conversations about dogs that kind of like walked us there. And I was applying to be an ECE assistant.
What early childhood education?
Yeah.
Okay.
So it was like going into a daycare space. So you're already kind of talking about urine in that environment.
I guess so.
And like comfortability with it. And then they asked me about like, how do I get along with other males? Because the ECE in that space was a male.
Mm-hmm.
And my response was, oh, pretty good. I might pee in the corner to assert some dominance, but otherwise I'll get used to it and I'll adjust well. And that, I just remember driving home being like, did I say I'm going to pee in a corner in a professional job interview?
When you said that you were going to provide context after you told me that you said you were going to pee in a corner, I thought it was going to sound better. I thought the context was going to save you, but that was worse.
What do you mean?
You said you were going to assert dominance over your new coworker.
No,
Even without the peeing, that's weird.
I got the job. I was there for a bit. It was I still feel weird about that interview.
Mm-hmm.
I don't recommend it. And you've talked about this. Maybe humor's not the spot for an interview.
No, it's not a safe move. Like maybe
No.
just the lightest of jokes if like it hits perfectly, but yeah, we want to be super conservative on that front.
Yeah. To wrap up how to act during an interview, what are the signs of disrespect?
Oh.
That either you're being disrespectful or that this company is going to be disrespectful?
Okay, so that's a great question. On our end, I mean, we want to be polite, acknowledge all their questions, make sure we're actually listening when they're talking to us. I'm not too worried about people who listen to a job search podcast being like polite and professional when in an interview. Like we're preaching to the choir here, as it were. But to watch out for a company being disrespectful for you, I always say this. In a job interview, any yellow flag displayed by the employer is a red flag because that is their best version of themselves. They're on their best behavior in that moment. So if you see in a job interview, employers doing anything like cutting you off while you're talking, speaking slightly rudely to you or to other people, showing up late without apologizing, not paying attention, doing other work. I've had all of these things happen on one day, and I got a job offer which I did not accept. Yeah, those are, you have to really watch out, because one of the biggest things that's like a huge risk when we go into a job is if they are bad, if they're like toxic, if they're terrible to work with, and we accept the job and we start the job, and then 2 months later we can't handle it and we have to quit. Hey, that's a bad experience for our mental health. But also on your resume, now you have this either 2 month period, which does not look good, or you have a gap if you choose to leave it out, which again, 2 month gap, not the worst thing in the world, but like not ideal. So yeah.
You know what I think is the most disrespectful thing is when the interviewer asks, walk me through your resume.
Why?
Because you brought me here, you invited me, and you haven't read my resume? You don't know what's on it?
No, that doesn't mean they haven't read your resume.
Why are they asking me that question then? They haven't looked at it. It's in front of them, and I'm telling them a story, and they're like, oh, you worked at that place? What do you mean?
No, I agree that that could be interpreted that way. But when they ask, walk me through your resume, they're not saying, I didn't read your resume, so read it to me. They're giving you a chance to explain how you moved between this job and this job. What are some of your proudest accomplishments on your resume? It's kind of the blank slate question that replaces, like, why should we hire you? Or tell us about yourself.
I feel like it's just wasting valuable interview time. Let's dive into more than what you've already read.
It's a lazy question.
Okay, so maybe it's not disrespectful. It's just a lazy question.
I have one other thing I want to talk about in terms of like how we're behaving in an interview.
Okay.
Which is our energy level. So in an interview, like you do want to kind of manufacture a bit of excitement. If you're nervous, that's often going to come across very slow, quiet, reserved, even robotic, dare I say. And for some of us who don't have a lot of interview experience, we might think we're being professional by being kind of like slow, quiet, methodical, but that's going to come across as boring and even disinterested. So I always say, like, when you're in an interview, bring the most energetic version of yourself. If that means you need to have an extra strong coffee in the morning, I don't know how coffee works. You're the coffee guy, but like we need to come hyped up. And then when we're talking about like our success stories, don't be afraid to let the emotions of that situation you're reliving come out. When you crushed something, you know, we should hear how excited you are, how proud you are of that experience. When you went through a challenge, we should hear how serious and, you know, like problematic the situation was, so that we can feel excited and proud of you that you resolved that problem.
It's now time for our unusual interview, the time where we ask each other questions we hope you never get asked in an interview. If they were to play one song, WWE entrance into your interview, what song do you want on to kind of kick that door open and walk in with confidence?
Sunshine, lollipops, and
rainbows.
Yeah, that's
nice.
Fine. Just, we're going to be so positive. We're going to be hyped up. Everyone's happy to be there. That's my pick.
That's good.
Yeah. What's your walk out song after the interview is over?
Ooh, I feel like I had one there. Okay. Walkout song. I'm picturing Lil Wayne. That like
Lollipop?
Yeah, it's like
no.
That's
the guy who said I'm gonna pee in the corner.
It's not Lollipop, but it's Lil Wayne.
Okay.
Yeah. Wait, that's
Lil
Jon.
Oh man.
Okay.
2008 was a long time ago.
Yeah, it was. Well, thanks for tuning in. Please don't forget to like and subscribe. Please send this to a friend who's going through a job search right now. And please leave us a review. Give us a rating. We would love to hear feedback. And we want to hear your ideas of upcoming episodes.
Also, if you're watching on YouTube, neither of us got a haircut cut for this episode, so compliments on the hair just to reassure us would be great. Thank you.
I was gonna ask that question too, to be like, oh, should I have shaved for my interview?
Yes.
Yes. All right. So next episode, we're actually going to talk about how to structure and predict the interview questions that you're going to be asked. But before you go, Greg has a free resource called Interview Prep Checklist at greglangstaff.com.
Check it out. It's amazing.